Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schmidt List. I am your host, Kurt Schmidt, president and partner at Foundry, and I am so excited you are here joining me today. You may have noticed the studio is a little bit bare because I am moving the studio. I'm moving it around, and there's going to be a whole new backdrop and stuff in the future, maybe some upgrades. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe after my talking to my guest today, I'll learn a lot more about what I should be doing, and you will too. So I'm really excited you're joining me today. But first, before I get started, I do have to mention that we are hiring at Foundry, foundrymakes.com/careers. So go and check that out, and tell 2 friends while you're at it, and then tell those friends to tell other friends, and then post it to your social media, and then email your grandma. Basically tell everybody you know that we're hiring because it's really important. So I want to jump right in. I need to add Kirk in here. Kirk, how are you today? Whoa, that's the wrong screen. Kirk, how are you today? I'm so happy to have you here.
Man, I'm glad to be here. It's good to be here. I'm doing well today. I'm doing very well today.
Good. I'm so glad. So you are master of all things when it comes to streaming and all the things that has to do it. You've been doing this for quite a while. How did you get into it? Did you, were you a young boy thinking, boy, I can't wait to, go live on YouTube all the time. Where did this passion come from for you?
Man, so I'm a techie at heart. I self-professed Jesus geek, right? So that's my thing. But yeah. So I've always had a passion and a flair and an interest in the technical, right? So that's always been a thing for me. But I would say one of the things. So I rose through the ranks of technology and then got into leadership, right? So in the leadership role as an IT director, basically all that means is you're the person that everybody calls if something's really wrong, right?
Right.
So as the IT director,
work, Kirk.
exactly.
Yep.
But as IT director, CIO, CTO, one of the things I always found in some of these smaller organizations, even in some of the larger organizations, was that they merged the two. They merged media and technology, and they were like,
Sure.
okay, you're our leader, so you lead us in media as well. I was like, well, I don't know anything about that. So I dived into it because I had a whole team and production crew. This is while I was working overseas in South Africa for a number of years, leading technology for an NGO there. But I went in head first because I wanted to, understand what my team was having to do to produce all this great content and these shows. We had a fairly robust station that we were running there in South Africa. So I was like, man, I got to figure out this stuff. And so that was my first foray into the media. And of course, we were doing some live streaming there as well.
Right.
But yeah, over the years, I have really dived into several different platforms. My earliest would have been it's a platform called Mogulus. I don't know if anybody out there remembers that one, but it was later they changed the name to Livestream, and yes, that's actually the name of a company and platform. And then Livestream was eventually purchased by Vimeo. So now everybody, of course, is familiar with Vimeo, and Vimeo's entire OTT, their entire infrastructure backend is that Livestream, product that they purchased. So that's my claim to fame, if you will. That's how I kind of got started.
Well, tell me about the work you do these days. I know you do a lot of courses. You help people with live streaming. What does that look like? Is that your full-time gig now?
Yeah, that's my full-time job now. So yes, I'm a live video coach, a live video
Yep.
strategist, and I help people with live video marketing. Primarily faith-based entities, entrepreneurs, small businesses,
Mhm.
thought leaders, people who want to use live streaming as a vehicle to really push their brand. I have a saying that says your live stream is your digital storefront, because there's no greater way for people to experience your greatness than for them to see you do it live. And when people see you do your thing live with that passion, with that excitement, with that enthusiasm that's infectious, they say to themselves, I either want to learn from this person, or I want to work with this person, or
Mhm.
I just want to hire this person to do my thing because they're doing it so well for themselves. And I am my own best, I guess, example or success story, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
My live show has been the number one lead generator for all the things that I do.
Yeah. And so let's start with that idea. So there's probably people watching this that are live curious, if you will.
Sure, sure.
But one of the things that I get messaged about with people that are like, oh, I couldn't do what you do. I don't, I have some ideas, but I don't know where to go or how to do it. Do you have the same message of like the Gary V's out there that are like, just start and figure it out? Like, where should a person begin if they are curious about this? Should they start small? Should they just dive right in? Like what do you usually coach people to do or to think about?
This is so the coaching process, of course, as you know, is very, very one-on-one. It's very individual but
Hmm.
specific. But if I had to say something general, what I always say to folks is, what are you passionate about? What would you sit and talk with a friend at a coffee shop about for hours? Whatever that thing is, it's not so much the topic I'm really looking for, it's the mode. The cheat code really is, how do we get you into the mode where you're able to just talk, right? To just do your thing, because
And be
that
relaxed, right? Yeah, be
be
yourself.
relaxed, to be yourself, to share your stories, to make jokes about you as
Yep.
examples, to really drive home a point. That is the place that I'm always trying to get coaching clients to in order to go live. That's the person that people want to resonate with. That's the person that people want to hear from. To be clear, I think there's a huge misnomer here. So broadcast is broadcast. TV, Hollywood, that's that. And that's produced. That is overly produced at times, so much so that it seems fake because
Yep.
it is fake.
Right. Right. It's
Live is
designed.
not that. Yeah, exactly. Live is not that. And to be clear, live is not even reality TV, because reality TV is not real. A lot of
Mhm.
that is scripted. A lot of
Yep.
that is pumped up, and they go for the drama angle because they know that that's what's going to sell. That's
Right.
what's going to boost their ratings. Live is not that. That expectation is not on you when you're live. When you're live, people expect to see somebody that they would normally see, somebody they would go to a conference to see, somebody who might come to their building to train them. That's what they're looking for when people are live. Yes, there are magnanimous personalities out there and people who are
Yes.
effervescent, who just bubble over with enthusiasm and excitement. And if that's not you, that's okay, because I have clients who are monotone,
Hmm.
who don't
Yep.
very rarely chuckle or laugh, and their idea of eye contact is not looking at their shoes, but looking at the person they're talking to shoes. Right?
Sure.
That's
Sure.
that's their litmus test. But they still have ridiculous, crazy followings because they light up, or they come alive when they start talking about NFTs or the metaverse,
Right.
which is a huge and hot topic right now. And
Yep.
to be clear, the people who know that stuff, they're generally not the ones you want to watch, right? They're
Right. Right.
they're the
They're
nerds in the
not going to
basement. Yeah,
they're not going to
exactly.
be very
So,
gregarious. No.
but if you take a listen to what they're saying, you may make a couple thousand, a couple 100,000, a couple $1 million. So
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. The value proposition far outweighs the personality. People are
Right.
looking for real people. So
Right.
that's the place that I'm trying to get people to whenever I'm coaching them. And that is, to me, the secret sauce. You've got to put you in your content.
Yep.
Oh boy, you're gonna get me again. Once I get on that train, man, I can't, it's hard to get
No,
off. So let me
this is
stop
great.
now.
This is great. This is exactly what I wanted. So
Yeah, yeah,
because that's the thing is that I mean, it's hard for people to get over themselves.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
that's the thing. They assume people are thinking so much more about them and judging them so much more
Yep,
than
yep.
they're judging themselves. And to your point, because it is, because live streaming is something that not a ton of people do. It's an easy way to stand out from everybody
Yeah,
else,
it is.
which
It
can
is.
also though be very scary because
It can be. It
yeah,
can be. One of the things I like to so one of the huge benefits of live streaming, of course, is comments.
yeah, yep.
And
People,
having a
yep,
live audience. I mean, all the numbers show all of the numbers. I don't need to give you a statistic, venue to go and check because it doesn't matter which one you check. All of the numbers are telling us people watch live video far longer than they'll watch produced video.
mhm.
They just stay because there's that FOMO that kicks in. It's like there's something's going to happen and I don't want to
Right,
miss it. That's number one. Number two,
right.
I'm in the comments and they're actually talking with me. So the moment you respond to somebody says, "Hey, from Chicago," and you're like, "Hey, Ted from Chicago, thank you so much for being here. I actually used to go to Taste of Chicago, and when I was in college in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and now we have this connection."
Yeah,
And now somebody's like, "Well, I've got to come back because this I
I
just
know.
met."
Yeah, I know this person.
Yeah, I know, and now I'm locked in. I better bookmark that. So there's something about live that
Mhm.
kind of connects people. It allows for that interaction, that no like and trust factor to accelerate
Yeah.
that much quicker when you're live than when you're not live. And I'll say this one last thing on this topic in terms of, getting started and that whole perfectionist mindset. Some of my best moments were when I had absolute disasters. In fact, my audience counts them as badges of honor. Like that's
Sure.
it's their like, but who was here when his camera fell over? If you remember when his camera fell over, then you're a part of a special club. And people are like, "What? Kirk's camera fell over? You mean that happened to him?" Yes, it did happen to me. And if it happened to me, it's probably going to happen to you. And that's okay.
Yeah. And that's
And that's
okay.
okay.
That's okay. Because again, it's not about just doing that one show. It's about building that body of work. It's about getting
Absolutely.
that point of view out
Yep.
there,
Yep.
And so yeah, I get it. I totally understand. I was insecure about it as well. But for me, the idea of live is just exciting. Like I've been
Yeah.
doing a podcast for years, and it's an easy way to do it because you can hide behind the microphone, nobody can see you, and I
Yeah.
can edit myself to sound like I know what I'm doing. And all the spaces that and I challenged myself about a year or so ago to get into more spaces where I am more uncomfortable,
Yeah.
just in general, which is doing live video, but
Yeah.
also places like Twitter and TikTok are very intimidating to me, because you have to be brief, and I'm not a
Yeah.
brief person. I like to rant. um,
We have
so
that same problem in common.
so Twitter's always been a challenge for me, but I challenged myself to go after that. And so that's what I would tell people watching this too, is that just take it on as a personal challenge.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to be internet famous. I truly learn so much. The more you
Yeah.
put yourself out there,
That's it.
you do learn so much. Have you found that too, Kirk?
Absolutely. Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. And it's a two-way street. This is the other part about being live. People have this imposter syndrome piece
Yep.
that kicks in. And
Yep.
the imposter syndrome comes from the idea that, well, I'm not really the expert. So why would I go live to talk about
Right. Who
this?
wants to
Here's the
listen to
piece.
me?
Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing. You don't have to be the expert. You simply are sharing from your lived experience what it is has worked. And if somebody says, "Oh, cool, I've tried that, but I've also done it this way," then you now get a chance to learn their way.
Mhm.
And that's what it's all about. But being the person that's live doesn't necessarily mean you have all the answers. It just means you're the facilitator of the conversation. And that I hope
Exactly.
that frees somebody up to be
Yeah.
able to say, "You know what? Maybe I can go live.
Yep.
I can facilitate a conversation. I
Yep.
don't necessarily have to be the authority figure." But here's the other piece, and it's literally on my shirt. I don't know if you can see that, but
Oh,
it's
so
there's three pieces there. Let me stand up again. There's three
uh-huh.
pieces there. It's to answer a question, all right?
Yep.
And if your content doesn't answer a question, doesn't matter if it's live, pre-recorded, YouTube, quote meme on Instagram, doesn't matter. But answer a question. It's got to be consistent, however you want to be consistent, whether it's on topic or on venue or delivery mechanism. All right, if you're going to do a video today, don't do an audio thing tomorrow and expect everybody to follow. You want to be consistent, but then you also don't want to have a live video show and then start talking about underwater basket weaving. You want to be consistent, right? So that's number two. Number three, you got to be vulnerable. And that's the part that everybody struggles with, but that's
Right.
supposed to be the easiest part.
Right.
The vulnerability piece is what causes people to be like, "Oh, they're like me. They don't have it all together. It's not perfect. Like their kid just ran in behind them while they're live and they're yelling at them, get out, get out. That's me. Like that, I resonate with that life. And to be clear, everybody resonates with that life because life is not perfect. Yep. So being vulnerable, sharing from a vulnerable place, and I'll give you a bonus. The rest of it, you're gonna have to book me for coaching, guys.
All
but
right,
the bonus is the bonus is simply your vulnerable place can also be where you find the value you have to offer. When I say to folks, I went from this, right, to this in terms of live streaming, and I had to show them like, this is how it used to look. It was horrible. It was terrible. I was not good at this. And now I'm over here. Now people say, oh, okay. So because I was vulnerable and they can see that there's a clear difference between these two spaces, they want to know what that roadmap is in between. And if you know what that roadmap is, now you have intellectual property you can sell. Now you have a course. Now you have coaching. Now you have all of those things because you can walk somebody through a process that is repeatable, that is iterative, that will take them from where they are, where you were, to where they want to be, which is where you are now.
Yeah. It's like it's productizing your journey, right?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, it's a great segue because the next thing that I get people asking about is the equipment and the barrier to entry, because I'm sure, as you've seen, one of the anytime I do a video on like how I do my stuff, it's like, so people are so interested in like how the magic happens, right? What's back there? Like, you don't want to see. It's all duct tape and gum sticking things together.
It's just wires. It's all wires in front of you right here.
It's wires everywhere. So what do you say to somebody that's like, well, what kind of camera should I get and microphone and, like, how do I get started? I mean, that seems really expensive, Kirk.
Yeah, and this is again one of those things. It's wildly personal, depending on where you are in your story, what equipment you currently have. I always tell people to start with what you have. Yeah. And so for somebody that may mean that they already have a DSLR camera. And so it may just mean, okay, we got to buy a capture card and then they can use that as their camera. Or for somebody else, it may mean you have your laptop and that's it. And then I encourage them to buy a little stand to put the laptop on so they can be eye level with their web camera. Everybody go and do this because that's even good for your Zoom meetings. Do not look down at your camera. Don't look up at your camera. Look eye level with your camera. That one is also free. But you start with what you have. Start with what you have. Put the laptop there and go live. There are 3 tiers of streaming platforms. Tier 1 is this right here. This is it. It's your mobile phone. That's it. You can just go live with your mobile phone. That's tier 1, and it works. And there are people who are making they've been doing this for a very long time, and they're only using their mobile phone. So that's tier 1. Tier 2 streaming platforms are things like StreamYard and Restream and BeLive and Melon App, and there are several others, but they're all web-based, cloud-based, web-based streaming platforms. They allow you to go live in seconds. I had a client literally in the space of a coaching session, which is an hour, create an account, set up their destinations, and they went live after our session was done. So it is possible. Right. And all they had is their laptop. They didn't need a microphone. So you can start with what you have. And then you have tier 3. And that's where me and Schmidt are at. We use Ecamm and OBS and vMix. These are tier 3, which means they're installed. They're locally installed on your computer and they work phenomenally. Right. But in terms of like, oh, what should I start with? Start with a content list. Yeah, I know that's counterintuitive. You're expecting me to say buy a camera. Nope. Start with a content list. Start with, okay, I figured out how to do this, and this, and I want to share that with people. I want to share this thing that in this video, in this live show, I want to give people 5 steps on how to do this thing that I do. And clearly it is helping me because these are the results. Oh, those are the results. Put that in your live show too. So don't just share with them the steps, share with them the before and the after. You see what I just did there? Now I'm giving them the full journey. That's a show. And then plan another show. And plan another show. And here's what you do after you get a couple shows under your belt. You go back and you watch film. There is no athlete, there's no pro anything on the planet that does not watch film. And if you're going to live stream well, you're going to have to go back and watch film and see what you did right, what you like, diarize those, see what you did wrong, figure out ways to eliminate those, and tweak as you go along. But here's the thing, you never get a chance to tweak until you've gone live. There's no way to review what you've not done. So
Yep.
That's a huge piece, a huge component. Now I know there's somebody that's going to say, but you still haven't told us what equipment to buy, because I've already done all those things. So let me give you my 3 steps. If you're going to make an investment, you are at the place where you've got some reps under your belt. You've already done, a couple of different live streams. And so this is not new to you. And this is something that you believe you will be doing for the long haul. So now you're ready to make an investment. I always tell people to make the sound investment, the microphone investment, the audio investment. People will tolerate bad video, but they will sign off for bad audio. So you make the sound investment first. Find a mic that's in your budget. And a good budget is $200 to $500. Find a mic that's in your budget and get that mic. Keep that receipt. Listen to yourself on that mic. If you don't like what you sound like, send it back, buy another mic. Keep doing this until you find a mic that you like. Don't listen to the experts. They have all kinds of equipment that make them sound good on that mic. So you buying that mic and them having that mic doesn't mean that you're going to sound like them.
Not the same.
Plus, some people just have good voices, right? I've been accused of this. I do voiceovers as well. And people are like, man, I don't sound like you on that mic, but I have a voice that sounds like this, right? So you're going to have to find the mic that makes you comfortable. Remember, I talked about that cheat code that slides you into that comfortable place that allows you to show up as your most authentic self. That mic is a part of that process. Find the mic that allows you to get into that place, and that's your mic. Next thing you invest in, it's got to be the lights. Lighting makes all cameras better. Lighting makes all cameras better. If you're at a wedding and you see somebody take pictures on their cell phone and you're saying, dang, their pictures look better than the professional photographers, that's because the professional photographer lit the shot.
Right.
and they just showed up with their phone, was like, snap, snap, snap. Well, lighting makes all cameras better. So you will make the light investment before you make the camera investment. The final investment, of course, is the camera investment.
Right.
And of course, it's all going to be related to your budget, what you want to do. You want to future-proof that purchase. But those are my 3, and those are the steps that I usually use. And that's the perspective around how you want to think about making those purchases. It's not about, oh, he's got an SM7B and this one's got a Rode thing, and this one has that one. What do you sound like on that mic, and do you like it? Because if you don't like it, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Right, exactly. That's sound advice, Kirk. What my friend Pete said. Tier 5 is hiring a streaming expert to manage the tech for you.
There it is. That's me. That's me. Come on and hire us.
Because that's the thing, Pete. Like if I'm a business owner watching this, and maybe I'm thinking, I want to start doing it as part of my business versus maybe, just myself personally, would you say, reaching out to an expert because you probably have the budget for it, because you do want somebody to just think through all those things for you, so you can just focus on the content then, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things I do say too, because I have clients that are like that. They want the easy button. They want the hands-off approach. I just want to show up, provide the value that I know I have to give. I want to look dope. I want to look awesome doing it. But I always say to them, there is a measure of familiarity you will want to have with the process so that you don't get duped, so that people don't tell you one thing and they're really not doing that thing. So you want to have a level of familiarity with the process, even if you're not going to be the one pushing the buttons. It's like, okay, you said we're going to go live to so-and-so destinations, but I didn't even see the post on all of those destinations.
Right.
You just want to have a familiarity with the process so that as you go out there and you are consuming, you're just an informed consumer. So yes, and to be clear, I would love to meet anybody that's interested in getting that kind of service done. That's exactly what my company and I do. We create that easy button for businesses, brands, thought leaders all over the world. So
I think it's fantastic because again, it's live streaming is not going down, it's only going up. It's and more platforms are focused on this because you even see there's people I follow even on Amazon with their own kind of QVC sort of thing that they do on Amazon. It's great. It's fantastic. Those people are wonderful. But then again, it's like I can discover them there, but then I'll see them on YouTube, and then all of a sudden they show up on my TikTok, and it's great. It's fantastic.
They're everywhere. Right.
And
I'm definitely doing a lot on Amazon these days as well. So it is. Well, oh yeah, it's a growing platform. In fact, this mic that I'm talking on is a product of being on Amazon Live and getting a connection with the folks who make this mic and having that brand deal. So there's a lot of things that happen, doors that open, connections that are made when you're live. And unfortunately, it does not happen in any other way. So
Right. Yeah. Right. And again, for the amount of enjoyment you get
mhm,
from doing the show, like I said, I wouldn't do this unless it was fulfilling, and
there it is.
it is super fulfilling. So one of the things you mentioned you help with is especially in the religious side of things with churches and pastors
Yeah.
and all those sorts of things. And I can imagine during the pandemic,
Oh wow.
it was pretty crazy for you. I can imagine.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It was the best time to quit, even though I didn't know that at the time. So I quit full-time employment like right at the beginning of the pandemic, deciding to kind of go into this remote producer, broadcast engineer thing full time. And yes, I have not. The numbers have not gone down. Everything
No.
is trending upward. And you are absolutely correct. The faith-based community really, because they, in my opinion, right? So don't shoot me, but because they were so far behind everyone else,
Right.
almost to the point of taboo, like, well, we really don't want to be in those spaces. And then it became the only way to exist. It was the only way to actually communicate and really have community with one another.
Mhm.
There was a lot of opportunity for people like me, and I have a number of colleagues who were still busy even to this day, like
Sure.
with faith-based entities and organizations and churches and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's been great. It's been great from that perspective, because one of the things I really like is having a message that isn't just look at me,
Right.
listen to me,
Right.
I'm amazing. That I like when people's motivating factor is I want to serve. I want to share something of value with someone else, regardless if even if it's just one person. As long as I can have impact in that way, then
Right.
that would mean this would have been successful. And I think even content creators who are not faith-based need to take that kind of mentality towards what they're
Mhm.
doing in these spaces as well.
It's smart because I think it transcends from like you're saying faith based to business to personal,
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
you want to be a conduit for this
That's
education,
great.
this learning, right? And so that's why that's why I always did my show as an interview show instead of just me talking, because I wanted to be a conduit to introduce people to people that I think that they should know, and
Mm,
that I'm excited to talk to. And if I'm excited to talk to them, I'm just selfish. I'm like, everybody should be excited to talk to this person too.
exactly.
They should
Exactly.
meet this person, right? So, for those watching, like Kirk is somebody who I found on YouTube. I watched a lot of his videos. I'm subscribed to him. He does great live shows. He creates a
Thank you.
lot of great content, and so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'd love for you to come and teach my audience a little bit about live
Love it.
streaming and those things. And so we've got connected, and it's great. So that's to exactly what Kirk is saying, that the
Yeah.
whole idea of being that conduit, not having
Yeah.
to be the smartest person
That's
on
good.
YouTube, right?
Right. Right. Right.
But can you be a good connector? If you can be a
That's
good
it. That's
connector, right?
good. Oh man. You're onto something there, man. That's gold. That's gold. Being a
Well,
good connector. Wow, that's good. I'm actually about to write that down.
and that's the thing, though, with the people like yourself, Kirk, that are doing it the right way on YouTube. It's not just talking head. I mean,
Right.
you have tons of guests on.
That's right. That's right.
You talk about everything that's surround the orbit of what you do, which I think
Absolutely.
is more that holistic approach and easier for people to get into and start to understand. And so that's why I think it's so valuable to have somebody like yourself in the work that you do, because there is somebody out there who's not only putting valuable content out there for free right
Mhm.
now, but you can just he's just a email away from taking the next step and saying, all right, let's do this for
That's
real.
correct. That is, you're absolutely right. And that's the part that excites me about what I do is that I do get to meet people on a fairly regular basis who are about to, launch into this journey.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, a lot, especially those who are successful, when they get to me, they are at a space where I already know what it is I want to share. I
Mhm.
just really need somebody to help me package it so that I can share it in a way that's meaningful,
Right.
because my main goal is being able to impact others. And I think that is the best use of content creation, period, across the board. But I'm a huge proponent of live being at that top of the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So if there's this content creation pyramid, live is still at the top. That's Kirk's,
Yep.
mentality,
Yep.
because from the live video you can get the video snippets, from the live video you can get the blog post, if you take
For sure.
the text out, if you from the live video you can get the quote memes, from the live video you can get the audiograms, from the live video, all of the things. And with the live video, especially you have a guest like we are right now,
Yep.
once we get that clip out, you'll take that clip, share it, I'll take
Yep.
that clip, share it, and you start that cycle all over again.
That's
So
great.
there are a lot of businesses and brands who know that I must engage online. I need to post content.
Yep.
And they're posting just for the sake of posting. When you do a live video, you can not only meet the requirement of posting, right? You're feeding the content monster because it's a hungry beast, but you can also feed that monster with content that's relevant, with content that is impactful, with content where, because it was live, you were in a space where you really were, animated and excited and, sharing from a almost spontaneous space that people are able to really experience what you're doing. And whatever your brand is, it doesn't matter what your end goal is, whatever your business is, whatever your side hustle, passion project might be, people are going to say, I would love to do something with them just because of what I was able to see. So
agreed.
Again, I'm a huge fan of live video.
Well, okay. And one last question I have, because this is the one that comes up a lot, is platform of choice. So, so right now I'm using Restream, like you had mentioned, and we are broadcasting to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, all at the same time, which is great. And I enjoy that. But if, I'm guessing you have people that come to you and they're like, well, I want to go on YouTube. And you're like, well, maybe that's not the best place for you. What do you say to people? What's your advice in choosing a platform? How should they go about thinking about that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. So first of all, we're using Restream to restream, but we're using Ecamm as a platform to stream right now. And so Ecamm is in that tier 3. And so right off the bat, it's going to depend on what is your level of familiarity with this space. And if you're completely novice, completely brand new, I would not start you off at tier 3. I would start you off at tier 2 because it is very easy. The bar for entry is very easy. And so my favorite tier 2 streaming platform is StreamYard, because it's rock solid and it just simple. It's straightforward. I've been able to get people my parents' age, let me say it that way, right, to go live with StreamYard in 10, 15 minutes, and it makes sense to them. They're able to put up their banners, tickers, do all of the things, start and end the broadcast, and they're good to go. So StreamYard is what I always recommend for that beginner starting out. And if you're somebody who's like, technically adept, and you can figure out platforms fairly quickly, and you're not averse to going on YouTube and figuring out, some things on YouTube as well, then you may not want to buy the year plan. You may want to go month to month, feel it out, because StreamYard does have some very real limitations. And if you start to feel those limitations encroaching on your creativity, then it's time to move to tier 3. And there's some other tier 3 platforms out there, but my platform of choice is Ecamm. I love Ecamm. I think it is the best tier. Did I say that right? Yeah, tier 3 streaming platform, period. But it is Mac only. So if you're not a Mac person, then there are some other options out there. OBS and vMix are options out there as tier 3 streaming platforms that you can use as well. One of the things I'm not saying is Zoom. Zoom is not a production platform. I just want to make everybody clear on that. Zoom is not for streaming. Zoom is for meetings. Zoom has even said this, and I wish they would just take away the ability to stream, but that's just a whole nother conversation for another time. And that's a personal pet peeve. But depending on your content, I'll just say this one last piece. Depending on your content is made for a specific audience. Your audience is on a particular platform. That is what will determine whether you're on a YouTube, whether you're on a LinkedIn, whether you're on a Facebook or Twitter. Your audience, right? If your audience is 15 to 18-year-olds, okay, then you don't need to use any of these streaming platforms. You need to probably go straight to TikTok and just use your phone and stream there, because that's where your audience is. But if your audience is, Xennials, like people that fall between Gen X and millennial like me, then you're probably going to be, in that Facebook, YouTube type scenario. But then if your content is just, here's how you do this, and you want the algorithm to work with you, and you're going to be doing these how-to and informative type videos, then you want to use YouTube. So, the content and your perfect person are going to be the determining factors in which one of these platforms are going to be best for you.
Totally agree with that. Yeah. And one of the surprising things is when I started doing TikTok is, to your point, there is a large group of
Yes.
Gen X and Zillennials, and it is heavily the 15 to 20
Yeah.
year
Yep.
olds.
Yep. Yep.
But there is a pretty solid group of those folks there too. But again, like, don't expect, to get billions of views if you're just aiming after Gen X sort of
Yeah.
content there, right?
Absolutely.
But again, back to your point, don't try to do everything all at once. Like, start small, put yourself out there and figure it
Yeah.
out. And I tell people all the time, when I started the podcast, I didn't know what the show was about for the first 20 episodes. I had to do 20 episodes to figure out what,
Yes.
what is
That's good.
my, what is this show about? What am I trying to get out there? And until I actually, and stopped thinking about it and started actually doing it, that's when I really was like, oh, this is what the show is about.
Show's about.
It's about personal and professional development and the melding of those two things. And
Wow.
and for me, being able to have people on, like, being able to be like, oh, I should reach out to Kirk because my audience, they're probably
That's it.
interested in this sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And so who better that I watch to have on than Kirk to talk about it.
I love that.
And for me, it's like I said, it's just been a personal growth tool. So I cannot recommend live streaming enough. I know we're fan guying here over the live streaming, but
Yeah.
it's just super fun.
I love what you just shared there. There is that personal discovery that happens as well. Even as I walk people through the process of figuring out what their real thing is,
Yeah.
I tell them to narrow down to 3 general areas and then start moving, start creating content, start doing live shows. And then where you see open doors, just kind of be sensitive. Where you see least passive resistance, or where you see that you're most passionate and where your audience is growing the most, then that may be your indicator towards like, okay, that's what this is about. That's what I need to be doing. That's how I can really serve this community well. So that's what you just shared there in terms of your own story. Again, your own story, the most powerful story that you can share. It's got social proof baked in, because here you sit and people can say, okay, well, that's how he got here. That's good enough for me. So exactly. I love it. I love that. I love that. Well said.
All right, Kirk. Well, I could talk to you all day because you are a fantastic person, and I am so proud of all your success, and
Thank you so much.
I wish you much more of it. So if I want to connect with Kirk, if I want to learn more about the work you do, if I want to follow your videos, I'm going to have links, just so everybody's watching, in all the descriptions, but let's hear it straight from the man himself. Where should I reach out?
You should reach out to Kirk. So let me give you the website first, kirkrnugent.com. Kirk with an R in the middle, Nugent.com. KirkRNugent.com is the website. All of my stuff is there. But if you're looking for my digital business card, then take this link down. It's Kirk, Kirk, 10K live. So Kirk10KLive.com. That's my digital business card. Everything is on there. The master classes, the courses. If you want to book 15 minutes to talk about, what it is your idea is, all of those things are there. Kirk10KLive.com. Kirk10KLive.com. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great. And, I was just aside, I was almost a Kirk. I think my parents named me Kurt. I was almost a Kirk. My dad was a huge fan of Star Trek. And was going to name me Kirk, but my mom was like, no, because it wasn't German enough to go with our German family name. So I got Kurt. But still, to be honest, I always have an affinity for Kirk. So
hey, my twin's name is Kurt.
No way.
So
with a K?
With a K. Dead serious.
Yes, because those ones with the C, you can't trust them. I'm just
no. You gotta have the K, man. Gotta have the K.
They're shady individuals. I'm just gonna put it out there for folks. All right, Kurt, thank
We're
you
not
so
biased.
much.
We're not biased. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I can't express it enough how excited I am for everything you've got coming up. And so I encourage everybody watching to go and check it out. So thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you everyone for taking the time to join me today. I so much appreciate it. And I hope you learned a lot in there. And if you did, make sure you go out and check out kirk10k.com. I will have links to all the things in there. And remember, by the way, Foundry, we're hiring right here. Tell your friends, tell multiple friends, okay? You know, post it to your social media, you know, maybe you could just cold call people, tell them, that's good too. Yeah, maybe not. Okay. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time today. We'll see you next time.